the assumption is that men are funny, so whatever
Yes.
you do just confirms that, and the assumption is that women aren't, so you have
Hmm.
to work to overcome that assumption and then try to be funny.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Moms Unhinged, the podcast. I am here with Lynn Harris, the founder of Gold Comedy, and I am just really excited to dive into some of your background and like how you got started, all this stuff, and what you're doing for women in comedy. I love it. So welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell us just a little bit about Gold Comedy and like why you started it. I love the story.
Sure. So Gold Comedy is the comedy school and professional network and content studio where women and non-binary creators and others build their comedy careers and join a powerful professional network and make funny stuff that actually, gets seen on all kinds of stages and screens.
Yeah.
And the sort of current reason why I started it is that, things were a lot better than they were in the 90s and before for women and non-straight white dudes in comedy. But they're also still unbelievably bad at the same time. Like both are true. And we're like grown ass women, so we can hold two competing concepts in our heads at once.
Right.
But the origin story is that I was on a ski trip in 1983, something like that. The big trip that everyone looked forward to, the big Jewish youth group ski trip up to Manchester, New Hampshire. It was always a blast, winter wonderland. And we were, playing around a bunch, hundreds of kids on Saturday night at the synagogue where we were staying, and a bunch of dudes got on stage. Somehow they like borrowed a bunch of nightgowns from the girls, or Lands of Salzburg nightgowns, or preppy, from that era. And like they sort of got on stage and did this like nutty, sloppy drag skit. And it was probably really funny. I don't know. Everyone, brought the house down. And I remember thinking, my friends and I were funny.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, okay, now what will the girls do?
Yeah.
And just as quickly, I was like, what will the girls do?
Yeah.
And then just as quickly, I was like, you know what? I think we're going to stand down. Because even though, and I don't blame myself because I was right. I was right because I reasoned, even though I knew that we were funny, I knew that audiences, whether, paying audiences or a bunch of, hyper teenagers in a synagogue basement, had higher standards for women doing comedy. That we just like slap some, like put bananas in our pants and slap something together. We'd have to like have a writer's room, have to come back in a week. And even that, like the assumption is that men are funny. So whatever you do just confirms that. And the assumption is that women aren't. So you have to work to overcome that assumption and then try to be funny. And so I was just like, you know what? I just can't.
Yeah.
And so even at 15, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of stuck with me. And it was like, I've been grinding that axe ever since. And I have since, and for a while, I specifically ground that axe against Adam Sandler, who I believe was, not kidding, I believe was one of those dudes. Because the timing all fits. But I mean, it's not against him personally. But now that he like plays an old dude like us, I'm like, oh, he's actually kind of good.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so true that women have to like be funnier. We can't, we like you said, it's automatically assumed, women are funny. But I think, you've since then proven that there's a community of people that can get together and be funny together, and women and like, all of that.
And the idea is that, we know that, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is, well, and we know that there's tons of us out there, and save for those who will never know about, who quit because it was too toxic, who who quit because of literal harassment or just being kind of iced out because it's still gate kept. So we'll never know about those people. Sad, awful, unjust. But those of us who are left, like, we know we're good. We know we're funny. We know we can do this.
Yeah.
I think what it still takes, and I could go into all the, continuing, everything from, death by 1,000 sexist paper cuts to really bad stuff, really, really bad stuff. But I think the move is to just make it normal that we do comedy. Not make it interesting. Stop calling us comedians,
Yeah.
The norm is a dude, and the women are the auxiliary, right?
Yeah.
And at best. And so the thing to do is do the job, do the work, flood the zone, make it normal that we are doing comedy. And that's a numbers game.
Yeah.
It's just do the work. So really Gold exists, do the work and get it out there. And so Gold exists to just make it easier to succeed in comedy for the people for whom it's still the hardest. It's hard for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard for that straight white dude over there. Yes. Yeah. But let's widen the funnel and let's help. And the more we help, and not just Gold, anyone, the more we help women and anyone outside the comedy norm succeed in comedy, we help them as individuals, which is a win all its own. And then we change who makes comedy and the idea of who makes comedy. And that matters because comedy matters. It matters because comedy is a job. It matters because, women are people. And it also matters because comedy is a powerful cultural force.
Right.
It's not just a distraction from like doom scrolling, right?
Yeah, right.
And so it matters who makes it. So let's make sure we get to make it too.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that so much. Now, did you go into comedy when you were young then? Or, you had that?
Yeah. I mean, I was always kind of the goofball, and in school, I played the funny one. I was the funny one.
Yeah.
The wacky neighbor, whatever. And same, like, long story short, same in college. And then I started doing stand-up pretty much right out of college. And first in Boston and then New York. And I did it for at least a decade. And the nice thing was that I worked hard, but I wasn't very motivated. No, sorry. I was motivated, but not ambitious. I was motivated, but not ambitious. So my goal with doing stand-up was to do stand-up.
Yeah.
And so I had a good time. I mean, despite all of the, I can list the complaints, but when you find your people, you can find your way. And that's what Gold also helps people with. We're also a powerful and supportive community. And even though I never really quit, I just kind of faded away from doing stand-up just because I got less and less able to stay up late, mainly.
Yeah, I know.
To do stand-up, you have to do stand-up all the time in order to do stand-up. And it just wasn't going to be the schedule that was going to work for me, but I never, ever, ever gave up on comedy, ever.
Yeah.
I've always done something that is in comedy, near comedy, adjacent to comedy, uses comedy. That's been the through line forever.
Yeah. That's so great. And it's hard too, as I'm sure, you found. It is a late night gig. That's why I love our Moms Unhinged shows start at 7. I love that. We're done. I joke, we party hard, but we're home by 9.
Yeah.
Yep. Whatever.
Party hard,
maybe not 9, 9:30.
Yep.
But yeah, and I'm sure you found having children, also makes it much harder to get out at night, and not, it's not totally true for every parent,
people do it wonderfully and successfully, but it's not easy. Ophira Eisenberg and I came up at the same time, and
nice.
She's and my kids now babysit for her kid who is 10, and she does it, and I remember Lori Kilmartin when I was coming up had an infant at that point who, like, she joked, and Ophira does too, about like they're I'll be I left him in the car, I'll be there. Yeah. But yeah, it's hard for all parents, I'm sure, but because of both reality and assumptions about mothering, it's harder for us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It is amazing that we get asked where our kids are, and the male comics don't always get asked.
or actually know.
Yeah. 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 So tell us a little more about like what Gold Comedy does, and like how, like, you've got classes, you've got a community, like what, I'm curious to see it seems like you've got a lot of classes going on and that, yeah, is it for beginners or experienced people, all people?
Yes. So just the first thing I want to say is that it's almost entirely online. So wherever you are, we
Right.
got you.
I love that.
Which was by design even before the pandemic in my head, because for all the reasons, for all the business reasons, for reach and scale, and not having to pay rent or
Yeah.
worry about the pipes and the heat, and also just because comedy happens on all kinds of platforms in all kinds of ways, and yes, we can learn comedy this way with each other on a screen, absolutely. So yes, we have tons of classes, and we have 2 open mics every week. We have meet and greets once a week with comedy celebrities and pros. We just had Sean Cassidy. We had Margaret Cho. We've had Rachel Dratch and Bloom. Rachel Dratch is an advisor.
Nice.
We have classes in all types of comedy and also production, digital production, so that if you want to make digital sketches, it's not just
Yeah.
about writing or acting. It's also about like lighting and sound.
Yeah.
And so we do that. And the cool way that it works is you pay by the year, and then your classes, other than our premium classes, are included. And the reason we do it that way is that the community comes first. You're a Goldie. You're in the community. You take classes. Sometimes people take classes more than once. Some people hold records for having taken our stand-up boot camp class like 10,
Yeah.
literally 10 times. And so to answer your other question, we designed them to work at all levels, because once you've taken them once, and we do have some classes that are specifically advanced, like advanced sketch writing, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they're designed to really just to hold space for your comedy project. In other words, even if you've taken our stand-up boot camp, take it again. Boot camp,
Yeah.
people do boot camp all the time.
Yeah.
Because people do it for the accountability and the structure and and you always get to work with a different group of people.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
we're always giving you feedback,
Yeah.
mirroring back to you what you're working on. So, and then we've just really, as we go, we do whatever we can, if not with funds, then with time and treasure and connections and networks and just mentoring and just helping out. We work to really get people's stuff made. In other words, it's not only skills are important. We all need skills and good habits, good, powerful skills, but we also need to put our stuff out in the world. So whether it's by with our sketch teams, providing them with mentors, production stipend, access to insurance, just things that ease the way for them to make stuff. We do that. We encourage everyone to find ways to, and we help when we can, to actually, if they're working on a solo show, get it on stage. How do you produce it? How do you get it out there? How do you get butts in seats? How do you, what are the legalities? Like all of the things that help you make your stuff real. The last thing I'll say is we also focus a lot on web series, because they're a really great little sweet spot between pitching to a network, which we also can help you with, by the way, and like making a ton of TikToks. All of those are good things to do.
Yeah.
But a web series is actually in reach, production wise and budget wise. And so for people to be able to create that kind of proof of concept of their own comedy genius,
Yeah.
and that then you really have something that lives on its own as a success story, but then can be used as proof of concept to pitch something based on it. So we try to help you we try to show you how within reach that is. We have a couple web series of our own that either we supported people in producing or that Goldies went ahead and produced, drawing on the community's expertise. One called Late Bloomers, one called Rat Czar. So we're really serious about like making it real in the world.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so great because it is hard. Yeah, you can have this idea, but just there's so many steps to getting it all out. Like there's so many little things that come up, like especially if filming or whatever, or if you are doing a solo show, there's so many things you don't even know to even think about. So that's so helpful that you've got that community who can give you, just a leg up and a heads up on what to watch out for.
And I think, one thing that really, we talked about the things that haven't changed and should have. But one thing that what we have now that is unimaginable, that would have been unimaginable to us in the 90s, et cetera, is just all of the different platforms and opportunities that we have now that we didn't have before, primarily because of technology, but also not directly because of technology. What I mean is, obviously, yes, we have TikTok and we have Instagram Reels and we have all those things that are great platforms for practicing and proof of concept, being found, finding others, of course. But we also, I think there's just this idea now that you don't have to move to New York, LA, or Chicago.
Right.
Because of this, because of us looking at each other right now.
Yeah.
And the same is true for being a creator. For example, one of the reasons that we teach, that we are very dedicated to teaching you how to pitch your primarily TV show, but it could be anything. Not just pitch, but develop the idea until it is like, you can't pitch the idea until you inhabit and fall in love with the idea over and over and know everything about it. So we teach you how to develop the idea and then pitch it. But the thing is that one of the perceived barriers to pitching a show is that we're like, well, I don't know Hollywood, or I don't know. I don't have that kind of network. I don't live in LA. I don't know, and technology enters this equation in a lot of places. But the point is we have the person who teaches it produced Broad City and Search Party and Amy Schumer and knows what she's talking about. She's here to tell you that you don't have to, you don't have to, your dad didn't have to be on the Lampoon for you to break into television, that there is a way. And if you learn the language, if you develop the idea to where it's ready and then learn the language, we don't care where you live or how much TV experience you have. If you have that idea and are ready to go pitch, you will get heard. They're looking for stories that are not the same old, same old.
Yeah. And the thing that's amazing about the time we're in right now is there's such a fractionalization of all the places that now need content. It's not just the big, major stations. It's, Hulu, and they're all producing their own things. Amazon, all those, they're just so many places where they need extra content, to fill their schedules that just weren't there anymore. And you can, people, the ability to produce it yourself and promote it yourself is also pretty amazing too.
Yeah. Yeah. And all this stuff that, didn't exist a couple of years ago, like fast channels, like Tubi. Yeah. And we have stuff on a couple of them now, which is a great deal because it's, our people's stuff gets distributed. It's a non-exclusive deal. So there's nothing stopping, we had a web series on Fox Soul, which is amazing. It's one of Fox's, the good part of Fox. It's one of Fox's fast channels. It's non-exclusive. So legit, we and the creators can say our stuff's on Fox Soul. But if someone comes along and says, hey, if someone from HBO comes along and sees that, it's non-exclusive and it's set up to get ad revenue, and the barriers. There is a barrier to entry, but it's very low. You have to have a good thing, and through our network, we have a informal partner company that helps match us to these called Cold Open that helps match us to these opportunities. So it's really is it's who you know, but not necessarily who you think that you have to know.
That's great. That's so great. So when did you start Gold Comedy? What was it? It was before the pandemic?
Evolving both in my mind and in reality for a long time. This iteration that you now see on our platform, we use a platform called Mighty Networks that helps us have everything in one place, online, in your pocket, all those things. This iteration has been around since the end of the pandemic.
Okay. Yeah. That's great.
For a long time, and in various other preliminary forms for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it starts out as one thing, and then it's like, oh, the market is demanding this now,
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's great that, and I love, especially you're able to pivot and recognize some of that and see what people need, That's, for sure. I love that. It's so great. Now you were just telling me that you've got your kid is off to school, off to college. So
yes, I don't think they'll be listening to this podcast, so they don't need to know that I have. The minute they left, I was like, bye. Have a great time. And then I'm running up the stairs and I'm finally, moving my computer into their room, moving in the printer, all the weightlifting stuff, the fitness equipment. They're barely down the block. The monitor is set up. it's like the everything guests are staying over, like
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you don't need to come home for break. Yeah.
That's what it was like. How long is your break?
I know.
Yeah. I mean, they're great. We love them, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's so yeah.
Yeah. So just you have one child?
We have B, who's who's a sophomore in college,
Okay.
and then we have Sam, who is a senior in high school.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's great. So one thing I like to always ask our guests on this show is for an unhinged moment that you had either with your kids or, could be with your own parents, just something where things got a little crazy, just so we can all feel a little more normal that we're not alone in this.
I remember, so speaking of this room that I'm in, don't tell, this for a while when our second one was born, after for a while they shared this room, both of them. But that was not that the integration was difficult. I feel like Sam was in a pack and play in our room for like almost a year. And then we were like, all right, we got to do this.
Yeah.
And we sleep trained both kids. I don't know if people do that anymore. I don't know what
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
And I'm a firm believer. I am unwavering I don't judge anyone else. I don't care. But
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in at least the theory that the theory of like, if you can teach someone to soothe themselves, that's a life skill.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I also am not made of wood. So, so when we, and they were both like pretty good sleepers.
Yeah.
And then we put them together in the room and it was instantly like call and response, screaming hysterics.
Oh, God.
And with Sam was like 1 and B was like 3. And we were like, we have to re-sleep train. And I remember being like hell to the no. My husband was like, I got this. And I just went outside and walked. We live in the city and I like every time it started like, it started up again, I would be like, goodbye. And I remember like putting on my boots, wearing pajamas, whatever, throwing on a parka and just walking. And I would walk around the block and I could freaking hear them. I would walk around the block and I would be like, go to bed now. And I would come back and I'd be like, I'd come into within earshot and it'd be like, shit, no, I'd have to go around.
You're like, you're getting 10,000 steps in at 3 in the morning.
Exactly. If only we had those damn things, back in whenever this was, 2010 or something. But yeah, and I just remember being like, because I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it, even though I was resolved. I knew I wasn't like worried that it was the right thing. I just didn't want to be there. And so, just storming up and down the, of course, plenty of people. It's the city. There's like people out, like probably doing the same thing.
Yeah,
fine. But like, hey, hi. But I couldn't do something normal, like go to the 24-hour diner. Like I had to just be like, because I clung to hope that like each round I would be able to finally go.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to commit to like pancakes. So. Anyway, so I remember that it just popped into my head because I'm sitting in the same room and these are the windows that
you could hear. Yeah. That is so funny. It is so strange how we're so wired to the cry, I think, and it is very just nerve-wracking to hear it and to let it go and know that this is part of the process or whatever. So
it hurts my heart even now,
I know.
And now our kids are great sleepers, well, mostly, but you know what I mean. They're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Sleep until noon at this point,
Yeah, they're fantastic sleepers, let me tell you.
Yeah. That's crazy. I know. I remember when I had my first son, we brought him home and it was like that whole bringing him home thing. I was like, oh my God, what? We have to know what we're doing now? And it was, I think it was the first or second night. And my husband did the same thing at the time. He was like, I got to go. It's like, it is very, very challenging. So, and then you're so tired, you're so,
oh my God. Okay.
So
okay. So here's something unhinged. So, okay. This is so funny. So my hack, and I stand by this. It was, I love television and I specifically love, I always say like every year I'm like, oh, we live in a golden age. There's always something so great. And it's not the only thing I love, but I like a good thriller.
Yeah.
And at the time, we had DVDs. There was no,
Oh,
like, there
right.
wasn't like
Yeah.
that, like Netflix was still,
No streaming.
they mailed
Yeah.
it to you. And I remember my hack for both kids when I was the thing where you have to get up every 2 hours and nurse them.
Yeah.
My hack was that I would watch a absolutely gripping thriller so that when I got up again, I'd be like, all right, what happened to Jack? Like, Jack Bauer's in peril, and so I watched, so I inhaled however many seasons there were of 24.
Yeah.
Like I mean, for all of its problematic politics, that show does not quit. It is so, I mean, it is the nail biter of nail biters. It's so good. You can't, I mean, it's just, you can't believe it. I'd be like, the alarm would ring and I'd be like, like I
Gotta get up.
Right. So, but then like I was so freaking tired that like during the day, I'd be like, I'd read the newspaper about like the president and I'd be like, yes, our president, Dennis Hastert. And I couldn't remember
Reality, dream life. Yeah.
I really thought that he was the president all the time. And I didn't know, like, it was just, there was just a very porous boundary between reality and the world of 24 for me all the time. 24 hours a day, I was living in 24.
Yeah.
So with my second kid, I watched Angel. So it was a little bit, I was not quite as worried about vampires. In reality, though perhaps we should be. I don't know if that would be me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I know you got to do something to get through. That's a good hack. I love that because you might as well make it enjoyable if you're going to be up every 2 hours,
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. That's so funny. I know it's such an exhausting time and you cannot convey it to, you can't understand how exhausting it is until you are in it. So, yeah. So that's
we did it, and we were like, "I'm going in again." So, that also.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, share with us something you're excited about with Gold Comedy or anything coming up that you guys are doing or.
Oh, we got a lot of irons in the fire that I'm very excited about. We're always cooking up another cohort of the pitching class that I just told you about, which is really life-changing, really, really life-changing. So that's always, there's always one happening and then one coming. So always excited about that. And those pitches really go places. People get their shows into development. They do proofs of concept. It's a real deal. We also were cooking up some more direct support for people, not just learning how to create web series, but really like walking them through, like really incubating projects and walking them through, like leaving with a ready to go project, like ready to shoot, because we really believe in that content, that type of content as a stepping stone and as an opportunity. It's so fancy now. It's called mid-form. It's not even like, so it's really a thing. And so we really want to lean into that opportunity. So, that is something that we're, you heard it here, working on for later this year to really equip people to go out and do that thing. We're hoping to leverage our expertise now in pitching to creating a broader pitch competition with cool incentives and cool opportunities that really again, it's great for each individual, but it also means that we put X number of more projects by women and others into the universe, which is what we want to do. We're always cranking out solo shows also. We help people develop solo shows, and our solo show instructor, Iris Barr, who you may have seen as on Hacks and Curb Your Enthusiasm. She is just a solo show savant, and she also runs a festival in New York City. So typically, a solo show festival, and so typically her alums, when they want to, are able to be part of that festival. So some of them have done solo shows before, but some haven't. So they really can kind of go right, in many cases, are able to like go right from this class, which is, an intensive, it's high level, into performing their, having a run of their show in New York City.
That's cool. Wow, that's great.
So those are all we're tiny, so I can't believe I gotta lie down because
yeah.
I can't believe we have all that. Oh, and we're kind of working on a podcast also.
Oh,
so,
exciting. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
I know. It's so much, right? There's so much opportunity and so many things you can be doing. It's hard to always pick. So that's great. Well, congratulations on all the success and all the wonderful things you're doing to support women, non-binary, trans people to help, amplify their voice and get our voices out there in comedy and into the world. And I just love it. And for anyone who is looking to do comedy or whatever, just go check out goldcomedy.com. What other places can people find you online? And we'll have links to this in the bio.
And I'll also give you a discount code.
Yeah,
goldcomedy.com is great. That's a great starting place. We have lots of resources, just a lot of good freemium stuff on our website, and Gold Comedy on Instagram. And all of those places will show you opportunities for just jumping in and starting a free trial to join through our annual membership. Or also we have public workshops all the time that you can find on Eventbrite.
great.
We have some of our mics are open to the public also. They're on Eventbrite. And
Great.
We're everywhere.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes and the discount code so that people can get in there and explore. Because we get questions like that all the time. How can I start? Just take a class. And some people live in remote places or places where there just isn't that opportunity. So I'm glad you are providing that.
Yeah, and sometimes people walk into a mic and they're the only woman there, or they're the only woman like their age, or they're the only something, and that's fine. Maybe the other people are nice. I don't know, but still, it's nice. You don't always have to be with people who are like you, but at the same time, sometimes you want to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want to know that a place, physical or otherwise, is going to be is going to feel like your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lynn, and I look forward to seeing more about what you guys do.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.